Hey everyone, I'm so excited about today's episode, but first want to let you know that this show is made possible by Fortune Builders. I also want to take a minute to invite you guys to an amazing opportunity to learn from some of the top experts in the real estate industry about how to get started in real estate or scale an existing business to the next level. Fortune Builders is hosting a one-day webinar to help you learn about real estate investing in today's market. So throughout the show, if you feel like you're ready to get started, go to fortunebuildershow.com to register. Again, that's fortunebuildershow.com to register. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you'll find a link right below the show so you can get there that way as well. And please remember that the content of this show and every show is for educational purposes only. Myself or our guests are not going to be providing any legal, financial, or professional advice. If we share specific results, they are attributed to an individual or a business, and we can't guarantee the results will happen for you, those earnings or the income will match those figures. The bottom line is there's always risk when investing in real estate. You can make a lot of money or you can lose a lot of money, and it's hard work. But that doesn't mean we can't have fun doing it. So let's get into today's episode.
From a team that has $1 billion in real estate investment experience. A show to help you learn the strategies and systems it takes to get started investing in real estate. This is the Fortune Builders Real Estate Investing Show.
Hey everyone, Jeff Rakowski here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Fortune Builders Real Estate Investing Show. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. J.D. Asajan. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Welcome back into the booth. It's been a couple of weeks. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too. I don't know. I mean,
You're with your family, so it's okay if you didn't miss me.
I can't lie, JD, but I did miss you a little bit. But
Thank you.
But it's good to be back, man. I'm excited
Good
about today's show.
Yeah.
We're going to be getting into some high level stuff today, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, you are constantly being asked, can I come into the office?
Can I shadow you and the team?
Shadow you. How many team members do you have? What does it take to do 100 deals a year? And you're actually we're gonna get into that today.
We're gonna get into it today.
And that actually leads me into the word of the week this week, which is org chart. Simple. I'm sure you've heard of it before.
Maybe not. Some people
maybe not.
Might not
yeah,
have.
maybe not. Actually, probably. I know when I got started in business, I didn't have a clue. I was the organization.
Yeah.
I was the marketing team.
Every position was you.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's a frustrating feeling. So we're going to get into that. But basically, an organizational chart is it's a visual representation of the structure of your company. To run a real estate investment business, there's many different departments. You have marketing, you have acquisitions, you have project management, all these
sales,
transactions, all these different areas.
Accounting, we can go on and on.
Yeah, on and on and on. So it's always wise as an investor, not just as an investor, any business owner, to have the roles and responsibilities clearly defined.
Absolutely.
So that's the word of the week. That's org chart. Let's get into it. All right, JD. So let's get after it, man.
Okay.
Let's get after it. As I just mentioned, I mean, we get asked all the time, can we come in? Can we shadow you?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the answer is no. Unless you're in the Founders Club, right? We have that special program. We do once or twice a year, but you guys are running a business, right? We can't have people coming in and out of the office. But so I thought we would get into, and I know you prepared some slides.
Yeah,
so
I got a few.
Yeah, so I know many of you are listening on audio platforms, and one thing I encourage you, for this episode especially, go watch it again, go over to Facebook, go over to YouTube, just because JD is going to have some really powerful visuals. I just looked through them, and you'll kind of actually see, how a multi-million-dollar residential redevelopment company is structured, and the team behind 123 deals.
Yeah, and it might surprise some people the size of that team that we do over 100 transactions every year and have for 18 years.
Yeah, yeah. Before we get started, put it in the chat box. What YouTube? Take a guess right now. How many employees does it take to do 123 deals in San Diego? And let's see what you're thinking.
We do $50+ million in sales annually in San Diego every year.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, over 100
Yep.
transactions. We're writing, dozens and dozens of offers every week. It'd be interesting to see what people are writing in
Yeah.
and how many people they think it does take to do that.
Yeah, for sure. How's 2022 looking so far?
I mean, extremely strong.
Yeah.
The market, as we know, is
Yeah.
very advantageous. There are challenges,
Sure,
and the market changes, as we know, but the supply and demand fundamentals are just out of whack, meaning that there's a
Right.
huge demand and very little supply for residential, specifically, I mean, commercial too, but residential housing.
Yep.
So if you have it available, we got 40 homes in inventory right now
Let's go.
that we're working on. Then you're in a good spot if you're renovating right and you're putting in the right features, marketing right. So it's going to be a strong year. I mean, we've talked a couple of times about what last year looked like, 2021.
Sure.
Record year in terms of numbers for CT Homes. We will surpass that in 2022.
You will.
Yeah, quarter one of 2022 obviously isn't done yet. It will be very soon. Is shaping up as we sit here right now to be our best quarter one on record.
Really?
Financially.
Man, I love it, man.
Yeah. And we're going to bring that office to the viewers and listeners today, because you're right, we do get asked a lot.
Yeah.
I get asked a lot, hey, can I pop into the office? And we'd love to say yes all the time, but the answer is we are running a business, and that affects that. So we thought we'd bring some of the office to the viewers and listeners today and show people what we do, who does it, and kind of break down some roles and responsibilities.
I love it. If you're listening to the show and you're a brand new investor thinking about getting started, this will give you a very clear vision in terms of where you can grow. If you are an experienced investor, you're looking to scale, you're looking to get to the next level, you're going to see exactly how to do that here. So let's get into it. You got some slides together.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start?
I think we'll talk about how we started, what the initial years look like when you were founded. First full year was 2004. Then we'll get into what we currently look like today and spend time there. I think what's good for people to listen, and you just alluded to, everyone's at a different stage in their business.
Yeah.
Some people are ready to ramp up and scale. Others are just starting. If you're going to do what we're going to talk about today may not be the exact structure that you run your business around. Sure. But if you're going to do online sales, you can learn a lot from Amazon, even though you're not going to or aren't necessarily going to become Amazon.
Exactly.
So you might be listening to what we're going to talk about. You want to do 1 or 2 deals a year, or you want to do 1 or 2 more deals a year, and you might structure differently, but you're going to learn on what we're going to talk about today. So when we started in 2004, there were 3 people, the founders, right? Than, Paul, Conrad. Who have been on the show before, my business partners, very successful investors, and it was just them. I came into the fold very, very early in 2005, and at that time when I joined, we had 2 other people. We had Marina and Lori, who both, I think you've met both of them.
Yeah.
And so at that point, that's 5, that's 6 of us, and then Ralph joined shortly thereafter. So we had 7 of us. And everyone was doing everything. At the time, Than was specifically focusing on...
No clearly defined roles, kind of...
we were figuring it out. I would
okay.
love to sit there and say the lanes were super clear. We knew where the white and lines were, and no one ever crossed.
Right.
But that didn't happen. Yeah. But in a general sense, Than spent most of his time generating leads, marketing, right? Because nothing happens without that.
Sure.
Paul spent a majority of his time managing the projects and doing the accounting.
Yeah.
And basically, Conrad did everything else. Paperwork, trusts, the closing cycle. I mean, and that's a very limited description, because anything else that Paul and Than were doing, that's what Conrad was doing.
Yeah.
Then Lori came in and helped Than with marketing. Marina came in and helped Paul with accounting. I came in and helped with project management. Yeah. And then Ralph came in and also helped Than with going out on appointments too, and meeting with sellers, et cetera. So that was the initial, basically 2.5, 3 years of our business.
Yeah, and this is New Haven, Connecticut.
This is New Haven, Connecticut, which none of us are from New Haven, Connecticut. Well, I shouldn't say it. Lori and Marina are from not too far away. Paul, Than, and I grew up in California, so Connecticut was just where we were living. Than was living, Paul was living nearby. So yeah, cold. Those of you that are from the Northeast, as I know you are, know what that weather's like. So New Haven, Connecticut. And that was what life looked like in the first 3 years. Now, we've had different size teams since then, and we've had interns. Sometimes we had an office where we had interns just hitting the phones and following up with leads. But what I'm going to talk about Now is what CT Homes looks like currently. And basically what that dynamic and that structure has been like for the last 5 years.
Sure.
Very successful, very efficient, very defined roles now. This is after 18 plus years.
So
we know who does what, why they do it, how we communicate together. And really that's one of the main reasons why the statement I made a moment ago of 2022 Q1 will be the best on record. That's why that's happening. Yes, the market is assisting, but even independent of that, the way that we're operating in it is on point. And so that's what I want to spend a majority of our time talking about today.
So most profitable quarter in terms of profitability, in terms of number of deals, how do you measure that?
Yeah, so we're not done yet, but it's going to end up being for a Q1 the most profitable quarter that we've had.
Excellent.
It depending on what ends up closing, buying and selling between now and the end of the quarter, it could also be for record deals too. That's to be determined. But as we sit here right now, in terms of profitability, we're already at the threshold that'll make it the most profitable quarter.
There you go.
And we may end up getting with this team that I'll describe in a moment to a point where the number of transactions also surpass what we've done in previous Q1s.
There you go.
We're not there yet.
So I'm looking at the whole entire team right here.
Correct. There's one person's photo that isn't on this screen that does, and we'll talk about him in a moment. But this is the 9 individuals. Obviously, Tham, Paul, and Conrad are the quote-unquote board of directors, but they're not in the day-to-day operations of CT Homes like this team is. So this is the group. It's not the latest boy-girl band that's coming out. Although some good-looking people on that, minus myself, some good-looking people on that screen. We've got managers, we've got team members, we've got a group of people that function well together. So Mary Shopno in the upper left-hand corner is our transaction manager. Allie works under her as our office manager / project coordinator. We'll talk more about those roles.
Sure.
I, as president of CT Homes, I'm the captain of the ship, if you will, and I also do manage the sales side of what we do, which Emma helps me with, as well as a sales assistant. Michelle is our rehab department manager, so she oversees, dozens and dozens of contractors and dozens of projects with the help of Angel, who's actually her nephew, is a senior project manager. Dan, who's been on the show often, and most recently we did a case study not too many weeks ago, is the director of acquisitions. Kevin Beefcake O'Shell. Beefcake O'Shell. Kevin Beefcake O'Shell is he's an acquisitions analyst focusing primarily on direct-to-seller marketing, direct mail, online lead generation, meeting with sellers. And then John Exotic Cypers. Two great guys and 2 great nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
Exotic, as we call him, John Exotic Cypers, is an acquisitions analyst that focuses primarily on the MLS lead generation. So that's the team.
Good basketball players too.
They are. They're ballers.
Yeah, we got a game today at 4. It's always Fortune Builders versus CT Homes, and they hold their own.
I heard we're good at a lot of things in basketball. It's not just real estate, Jeff. I heard Beefcake was on fire. I think you were gone, but I heard he just couldn't miss the other day at a game. And then I heard Exotic's pretty quick on the court as well.
Exotic. Dan's got a nice 3-pointer.
Yeah.
You got some solid players. When are we going to get you out there, JD?
As soon as I grow another 2 feet, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. I'm not a basketball player, but I'll come out and support.
All right. So for those of you that took some guesses, 10 individuals to run a $50 million a year company, essentially.
Doug Cherado, who wasn't on that screen, he's our on-site foreman. I'll talk about him in a moment. So 10 full-time people. And I like this picture I put up because it just, a team is a combination of personalities. It's a combination of skill sets. Any good team, is only good by the individual parts, and you're only as strong as your weakest link, and we don't have a weak link now. We've had weak links in the past, that doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means they're not the right passenger for our bus. And so that's good for people that are listening. Sometimes you force yourself to work with someone, or you think you have to work with someone, or have them work for you, and the reality is you have to be clear on what you're looking for and what you want from that person. And this picture represents that really. It's, we have a healthy meeting rhythm. It's not repetitive. It's not wasteful. And it's one of the things that allows us to get to, our goals. And we set our goals annually. We set them quarterly. We set them monthly, and we set them weekly too.
Yeah.
And daily. And that gets us to the point to be able to set, the goal isn't to set records. The goal is to have fun, be profitable, help people along the way, deliver good customer service.
And that's something, I mean, just from the outside looking in that you do so well. I know we're going to get into roles and responsibilities and all of that, but one thing that always stands out to me about your office and your people is just the culture. You walk into the office, there's just a great energy.
It's good.
People
good to hear.
People are working hard, but there's also an element of, fun that's happening and things like that. And it's like you could tell people love coming, into work. And obviously that speaks to your leadership. But that doesn't just happen. Any tips you would give, investors building a team out there, how to establish a positive, powerful culture?
Yeah, I mean, definitely you have to have core values. You got to know what your core values are. As you know, we have core values at Fortune Builders and CT Homes, and you have to know those. You have to establish those. You have to live them, and you have to breathe them, and you have to remind them constantly over and over and over again. Highlight people that are exemplifying them. Remind people when they're operating below the core values. That's where it all starts, because you got something to point back to. Yeah. And so whatever that is for your company, that's important to establish. I mean, being yourself as a leader is very important. People see through bullshit, pardon my French, right? So if you're not who you are and you're faking it, people know that.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's very important as well. Your core values, being yourself. Yeah. Being firm but fair too, right? I mean, if you know your core values and you know your KPIs and people know what their KPIs are, it's easier to manage because you have a direction, you have a lane. So when you fall out of that lane, or you didn't write the offers that we committed to writing that week, it's not me, it's us, right? And so how do we get back on track? Those things help. You got to have people get motivated by different things too. So to create culture, it's not just money. People, have to see a path to get to the financial goals that they want, but doing other things that are fun, like, for example, we do team building quarterly, and we go out and we do an activity that give back to the community. Cool. That's around our business. Then we'll go do something purely fun, like go to Top Golf. I'm going to take the team to a concert this year, go see one of my favorite bands, and we're going to get a suite at Petco Park. And we're going to go Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. I hesitated announcing it because I haven't told the team yet, because I want to surprise them. So if they're listening, that surprise just got busted, but it's going to be fun. So those kinds of things help because, like you said, and that's good to hear, leading by example. I like coming to work because we have things in the office that are fun. We have fun people. Yeah. And then when you have core values, people want to be, to have things in the office that people want to come have fun to do. You work hard. And then I always try to personally, like, people have their heads down, they're working hard. You can kind of feel the tension in the office. That's what I know is maybe it's some time for me to come out and tell a funny story or a joke or lighten things up a little bit. Because too much of that intensity, and I would consider myself to be pretty intense, although maybe people looking in may not see that, but it's like the duck on the water. They're kind of calm on top, and then underneath in my mind, I'm always.
Oh yeah, no, I see that. You're definitely intense. When you're locked in and focused, like, I know when to step into your office and when not to. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and that's the team senses that too. So I have to break my own state. So those are some things that I do. Right. And obviously those may not work for everyone, but some of the ones that do are definitely core values. Yep. Right. Motivating your team with other things besides money, because especially depending on the generation, they are motivated by different things. Yeah.
Share with the audience the core values of CT Homes.
Yeah. So we have, and these are Fortune Builders core values on the board, but ours are very similar. So our number one core value is ethics and integrity. Yep. Just like Fortune Builders, because if you're not operating there, it's downhill. Exactly. We've added a second core value in between the other core values that we have on our overall company, and that's urgency and solutions.
I like that.
Because I think one of our competitive advantages, and anyone listening or watching, if you operate this way, will be the same, is how quickly you move or how quickly you operate, and also how quickly you can solve problems.
Excellent.
So urgency and solutions. And then beyond that, our core values mimic our parent company, Fortune Builders: inspire, educate, lead, and crush it.
Excellent.
So those are
Excellent.
ours. We've added the one, urgency and solutions, because as a real estate investor, really what we do is we solve problems and we deliver customer service.
Yeah.
And if we can do that well, we get to buy and sell real estate.
Yeah. If you can do it quickly,
If you can do it quickly, you can buy even more real estate
Right,
more
right.
profitably.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
those are our core values. And so I thought we'd get into, if you're cool with it, like the actual org chart, where people kind of fall, how they report,
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm excited to be learning this myself, man. Let's go.
So this is what we look like today. You saw the faces on the screens a moment ago. You know, we have nicknames for people, and that's not just haphazardly. It's fun. People, like, I don't ever call Kevin. I call him Beefcake. I don't ever call John.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I call him Exotic. And those nicknames have stuck, and it's fun. It's part of that culture too.
I think I played basketball with Beefcake for a year before I knew his real name was Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know, we never call him that in the office. And this is the org chart. So, you know, we have a great team at CT Homes, and they're amazing individuals outside of the office.
Sure.
But they're rock stars on the field, if you will, quote unquote, of real estate. And I get the opportunity to lead them. So everything falls on my shoulders as the owner of the company, or those of you listening and watching as CEO or president. You know, you start passing blame for things, that's when the ship starts to sink. So
Exactly.
you know, everything falls on my shoulders. My main responsibilities are to make sure everyone's hitting their KPIs, you know, having fun, like we just talked about, working hard, we're making money, we're delivering top-notch customer service. And then on top of that, you know, managing the team, I also head up the sales department. And I think that that's important to note. That hasn't always been the case, where me or the current, you know, whether it was Stan or at the time or anyone else was also managing sales. But the reason I started doing that is, you know, I am a decision maker for CT Homes. And so when I'm negotiating with a buyer or an agent, you know, through an agent to a buyer, I can make quick decisions on that process on the sales side and basically streamline their experience, especially in a challenging market for buyers, get to a price that makes sense for everyone, get to escrow faster, get to the closing table faster, get money back in the bank account faster. Gotcha. And I like it. And I would consider myself to be good at it too. So that's
fun. You're like the closer.
Yeah, I like to come in. I mean, the team does a great job buying, fixing, and then I like to come in and I also like to meet our customer too on that end too.
Right.
Now underneath myself, we have 3, and so we divide up our business. This is good for everyone that's watching and listening. Whether you're getting ready to do your first deal, or you've done 100 deals or more and you're cranking, is to divide up your business into, you know, I call them silos, but you call them whatever you want, departments.
Sure. Yeah.
You've got your acquisitions department, because nothing happens without that. You've got your repositioning or renovation department. Then you got your sales department, and then you got a transaction that makes that whole thing run.
Sure.
And so that's how we divide up our major departments at CT Homes. Now, Dan,
can I jump in and do a little shameless plug here?
Of course.
Acquisitions is I actually launched a new class. I think that you're aware of, and I'm so excited about this. But it's really geared around finding and acquiring real estate, which is a skill set we all need to learn as investors. So if you're listening to the show, you're thinking about getting started or just want to really hone your skills, you know, go to the next level. Below this video, you'll see a link to that, fortunebuildershow.com. You can type that in the URL, and that'll get you a free ticket with me. I say 2 hours, but I've never really ended 2 hours. Plan on 3 hours.
Great class. Worth the 3 hours.
But you walk out over there with all the tools, all the technology that we use, CT Homes uses to find and acquire real estate. So anyways, thanks for letting me jump in.
No, it's important, because there is no org chart without buying properties.
That's right.
In the real estate space. So if you're not learning and you're a great person to learn from, that class is an awesome class, then the org chart gets pretty small.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
And talking about acquisition, so Dan is the director of acquisition. So he's responsible overseeing all the acquisitions. That's all the marketing that we do, that Kevin Beefcake, I can't even say Kevin, that Beefcake implements, and you know, all the KPI reporting, all the offers that we write. managing the acquisitions team, right? So that's marketing, that's direct to seller, that's the MLS, that's making sure we're hitting our KPIs, making sure we have anything to renovate or sell.
Sure.
And so he's got a meeting rhythm with his team, and his team consists of Beefcake and Exotic.
Beef and Exotic. What's your nickname? Is it like El Presidente?
Yeah, there isn't anything that stood out as good as Beefcake or Exotic, so nothing's stuck yet, but maybe we'll get there at some point.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question, Jeff. We'll have to come back to that. So Beefcake actually, so he started as an intern out of San Diego State. So he interned with us in his junior year of college, and then he went to study abroad his senior year, and he came back and he wanted to have a meeting about a full-time position.
Great.
So he's got a great attitude. He's got a great personality. He loves to work hard. He loves the competition of the deal. So as an acquisitions analyst, as I mentioned earlier, he focuses not solely, but primarily on direct to seller.
Yes.
And that's making sure the direct mail is going out, taking the calls from the individuals who are looking to sell their home, the online social media marketing that we do, all those different channels of marketing that are out there. And so he takes the calls from the sellers, goes out and analyzes the deal, negotiates, follow up, which is a big part of any acquisition. And then occasionally, because he's been working with us for a while, he has real estate agent relationships that'll call him with off-market opportunities. And he structures those deals as well.
But for the most part, he's handling everything direct to seller outside of the MLS.
Correct.
With the exception of the relationships you just mentioned. Got it.
And then Exotic is the opposite of that, meaning he focuses almost solely on the MLS.
Got it.
So every day he's filtering, and we've done shows on filtering on the MLS and acquiring properties. And he does the filtering, he does the analyzing, he's talking to real estate agents. If we're in the office, if we walked upstairs right now, chances are he'll be on the phone with an agent right now, getting information about a listed property or coming soon, finding out, going through our 5 steps on the acquisition side and getting that information, analyzing it, submitting an offer. And then the other thing that Dan does as director of acquisitions, we do something called QR, which is a quick review. That's what the acronym stands for.
Okay.
So sometimes before or during when Beef or Exotic are submitting offers, Dan does a quick QR, quick review to see because he sees anything different in the deal. Right. So it's another set of eyes.
Yeah.
And before the offer goes out. And Dan didn't start out that way. He started out as an acquisitions analyst, and he worked himself up, rightfully so, to director of acquisitions. So he has sole responsibility from his market knowledge, his experience, the amount of transactions he's been involved in now, to make a offer and ultimately bring to me what is a very easy buying decision for our company.
Sure.
So if Dan comes to me with a deal that we've written an offer on and got accepted, and we're at a stage of being ready to open escrow, chances are 99.9% of the time I'm going to approve the deal.
Yeah.
I do have final oversight on that.
So your eyes hit every offer before it goes out?
Or as it's going out.
As it's going out.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then I'm the final stop decision maker in terms of if we buy the property, of course, as president, leader of the team. But Dan, when he comes to me with a deal that we're in contract to buy or getting into contract to buy, chances are there's going to be very little that I'll have to say negative about it, because he's well versed in acquisitions. The other thing that's important about your director of acquisitions, or you if you're doing that, or Dan in this case, is a in-depth understanding of the market knowledge.
Sure.
Intricacies of neighborhoods, knowing how to comp quickly, being able to understand what the market dynamics are in terms of pendings and actives, and studying the market on a daily and regular basis. That is so important for anyone in the acquisition seat.
Agreed.
Okay, so that's the acquisitions team. We'll do another 100+ transactions this year. And our acquisitions team consists of 3 rock stars. So you don't need to have 30 people to buy 100 homes each year if you're operating under defined systems. And certainly we're only scratching the surface of that today.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I got to imagine most people are probably shocked right now seeing this level of business done by this small of a team.
I would be if I was not in it every day.
Right, absolutely.
Because I know other investment companies, certainly locally, because we track what other investment companies do, who have a much bigger team and are way less efficient. And I'm not saying that's wrong or bad. It doesn't for us, we like to be lean and mean. Everyone fills in where they have to. We know that sometimes the weekends aren't just for lounging around. We're going to have to get stuff done.
Yep.
But as a result, we get rewarded for that financially and otherwise. So that's the acquisitions team.
All right. Yeah. Let's hit renovations.
Yeah. So on the renovation side, so I started out when Paul Than and Conrad somehow wrangled me to move from California to Connecticut.
Yeah. Leave your farming career.
Leave my thriving farming career, my Wranglers and my cowboy hat in California, and moved to Connecticut as a project manager. Really, Paul they had too many projects for him to manage, and things were falling behind. So I stepped up, started managing the projects, and then ultimately, worked up to different responsibilities and roles. But Paul was the first renovation department manager. I was the second. We have another person in between, and then now Michelle does that. So she's responsible for either creating the scope of work or overseeing the scope of work that gets created by a project manager. She's responsible for hitting our KPIs. The KPIs on the acquisition side, before we move on, are the amount of offers we write, how many properties we lock up, how many properties we buy, of course, to reach our goals. Those are three of the big ones. How many properties we get under contract and don't end up buying for some reason, understanding why that is. But back to Michelle as the renovation department manager, the main KPIs when you're running a renovation department or running a renovation is hitting your timeline and your budget.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Those are the big ones. On top of that, you need to have some KPI around how many contractors you're getting in front of and meeting.
Sure.
Contractors come and go.
Of course.
Right. So she's responsible for a certain amount of new relationships every week, every quarter of contractors, trying new contractors, making sure, like I said, we're hitting our budgets and our timelines. And so sizzle features, making sure we're pushing our project design forward, that we're not using, shag carpet when it goes out of style, which obviously, isn't something that we've used in our time of business. But
I hope that doesn't come back in style, by the way.
Wallpaper's back in style now.
Is it really?
Yeah. When I've torn out so much wallpaper, I can't believe how much wallpaper I've torn out. Now I'm putting it back in. Now it's a different style.
Right.
But as a renovation manager, we got to be fresh. We got to not be doing something that was last year. Yes. We got to be putting new stuff in, keeping costs down. Now managing supply chain issues, pivoting when appliances are going to be, take 6 months, and we don't have 6 months. We got to get something else in there, right? You just renovated your place, and there are things like you can't wait forever, right?
Absolutely.
So that's actually a limited description of what she does, but that's major roles and responsibilities. Now underneath her is Angel. Now Angel started out as a junior project manager, which in our office means that they just manage smaller projects to start, and they don't create the scope of work because they're not competent in that yet. Yep. As an example, he didn't have construction experience when he started, nor did Michelle for that matter. But then Angel now is a senior project manager, so he's pretty well versed in managing any size project. Yeah. Maybe independent of new construction because he hasn't done that yet.
Yeah. So so far, the majority of these 6 people are kind of homegrown. I haven't heard anybody that came in like you recruited them because they had this experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe except for Exotic, we wanted and needed a new acquisitions analyst, and we put out an ad, and Exotic was on the East Coast, and he was in an element of acquisitions for a company that was doing more commercial, but didn't have wasn't dozens of years of experience. Sure. So yeah, most of who we see, and certainly anyone that even had experience, has been homegrown or trained in the systems that we use and that you teach on your trainings as well.
Yeah, and that's I remember hearing many of the stories that Fan tell about early on, and I think you mentioned Kevin started as an intern. Yeah. And that is a great way for a new business to get started. Yeah. There's so many people out there. You're all listening to the show, right? We love real estate. We're interested in it, and you'd be shocked how many people will just intern for free just to learn the business. Yeah. So leverage that.
Leverage that, and it's very powerful. We've had Beef's a perfect example of that, of someone who crushes it every day and is a leader in our organization, and he started stuffing envelopes and moving the cash van around as an intern. That's literally van. You remember the cash van we had that we turned into the A-Team van? Yep. One of his first responsibilities, because you park a cash van that has your marketing on it one place too long, you're going to get towed or you're going to get tickets.
Right.
So he would have to go first thing every day before he came in the office. He'd have to go move that van around. That's literally the first thing that he did. Interestingly enough, for whatever reason, we still got tickets. So maybe that wasn't his forte. But you're right. I mean, and we've done that over the years repeatedly. And really, as a business owner, you can look at hiring, aptitude or attitude or some variation of the two.
Good. Yeah.
And I can't say that one is perfect or for the other, or one's better than the other per se, but what we've always leaned on, and this, is attitude over aptitude. If you can get both, man,
absolutely,
that's great.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't have the experience yet, and you have great systems to teach them, but they've got a great attitude, you can make up a lot of ground fast.
Yeah, totally agree. And a lot of times with the aptitude, you're having to retrain and break bad habits, and
that
all
never
of that.
Get broken.
Right.
And they're maybe different than what you do. They worked where they were before.
Sure.
But you're retraining, and then it's just like it doesn't necessarily always work out. So you're right. And pretty much everyone that you see here, maybe minus Mary, who we'll talk about in a moment, she had the most real estate experience when she started working, with us, and then we snatched her up from the company that she was with. Everyone else had little to no real estate experience when they started. Now Doug at the bottom there is sort of a hybrid position for us over the last 3.5 years. Over the last 4.5, 5 years, we got into bigger projects, new construction on the residential side, development, lot subdivision. It just was a natural progression for us. And you really need someone on site on those types of projects. We found all day, every day. So on a new construction project that we're just finishing up 3,300 square feet of new construction at Pacific Beach from the ground up. There's a lot that goes into that.
Is that the Missouri project?
That's the Missouri project. I mean, this is going to trade north of $3 million. Whether it's north of $3 million or north of 300,000, there's a lot that goes into new construction.
Man,
so,
is that the one you offered to me for like 1.8?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, you should go buy the home now if you haven't seen it done. It'll blow your mind. We've renovated and built over thousands of homes. There's some finishes in this home that'll blow your mind.
Really?
It's really cool. And Doug's position in our company is to be on site every day. You could say project manager, but it's a little different because like Angel will roam around between the 30 plus projects that are actively going on. I said we had 40, but some of those are done and on the market.
Right.
He'll roam around to those projects, not all of them every day, but throughout the week. Where Doug doesn't do that. He sits put on, one or two, sometimes 3 new construction big projects where we're spending, on Missouri, there's over 7 figures of construction in that project.
Wow.
So we need someone there all day, every day. So that's what he does, and making sure that deliveries are showing up, material guys or gals are showing up to work when they should. Houses being locked up every day. We're project managing that one, which is a combination of 25 or 35 different projects within it.
Gotcha.
So that's what he does all day, every day, and does an amazing job coordinating with the utilities. When we got to bring in a new sewer or bring in gas or electric, that kind of stuff.
So the majority of your renovations team is going to be in the field the majority of their time, with acquisitions,
in the office.
More time in the office.
Yeah, unless they're out meeting with a seller or meeting with an agent at the property. Now we shift over to the sales and transactional side, which really is the glue that keeps it all together, because there is a ton of transactional based things that go into the acquisitions and the renovations, whether it's contracts, whether it's ordering material, whether it's getting offers out, whether it's getting counter offers out. I mean, there is a lot of transactional based things within one real estate transaction, let alone the dozens of offers that we write every week. And that's what Mary heads up. Coordinating, in California, we close with escrow and title. Other states use attorneys and title. She coordinates and interfaces with them. And it's a ton of paperwork, making sure that we're pre-opening escrows, which for us means there are some of the same things we have to get every time to escrow when we start a new sales transaction or a new buy transaction.
Sure.
So making sure those get there on time or ahead of time. Managing our office manager, who we'll talk about in a moment, Allie, or helping Emma with counter offers after I negotiate a sale. She does that. She's also an expert in short sale negotiation as well.
She is. Okay,
now
great.
there's less of those than there have been in past times because of the appreciation.
They'll be back.
They'll be back.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. And that's how we originally met her. She was negotiating a short sale for with another company, and we were buying that property from that company.
Okay.
And I don't say this lightly. I don't know many people that get as much done and work as hard as Mary. She can almost do anything in the real estate space, and if not, she'll figure it out in 2 seconds.
I love it.
She'll tackle anything almost literally sometimes, and so sometimes you even have to slow her down and make sure, I don't necessarily slow her down, but she needs help, and so we have team members that we brought on, and we're bringing on another one soon to assist. But her job is to make sure everything we buy, everything we sell, everything we transact, we do it as fast as we can, as profitable as we can. We're not wasting any time on paperwork. When we have short sales to negotiate, she's interfacing with the bank, getting us the best price.
Sure.
She's also really good with technology, so she helps in that department as well. And so she
Gotcha.
manages the whole transaction side.
Gotcha. And you're a broker, EXP
I am
broker,
a broker
as
at
well.
EXP.
So what percentage of your properties are you guys listing in-house? What percentage is going out to agents?
So currently right now we're at about a 70-30, 70% in-house, 30% we're listing with other agents. Now the reason that 30% exists is because when we bought the property, the agent wanted it, required it to work with us where they would get the relist when we were done.
Sure.
But not every agent wants to do that. So 70% of the time, I'm the listing agent for CT Homes Renovations. 30% of the time, it's another agent. And most of the time, 100% of that 30% was because that agent brought us the deal.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then once you get that contract, then Mary takes it away.
Now, underneath Mary, Allie is our office manager / project coordinator. Now, office manager is what a lot of people would think of that, keeping the office neat. We have these little fridges that have those bubblies that are in there, making sure that's stocked, making sure people are greeted when they come in. Those are snacks we have in the office. But beyond that, and I would say more importantly is she's the one who also turns on, as the project coordinator side, turns on the utilities when we buy, turns off the utilities when we sell.
There you go.
Right? Activate insurance when we buy, cancel insurance so that a year after you own the home, you're not still paying for insurance. And
that's a good thing.
You can ask me how I know that problem can exist. Because if don't have someone managing that, now you're paying insurance or you're paying someone else's utilities for the next year. When you have a lot of projects or one project, if you're not thinking about it, those things can get missed.
Sure.
So she does those. She preps the contracts for the contractors when Angel or Michelle are finalizing negotiations on budget with a contractor to get started. She does help from time to time ordering materials when we're needing that as well. So she fills in a lot of those voids. Does very important things, but again, not things that you as the president or CEO need to be doing every day.
Sure.
And then lastly, but certainly not least, our newest team member. It's been over a year now that she's been with us, but our most recent new hire is Emma, and Emma is our sales assistant. She works very closely with me and with Mary. With scheduling the open houses, prepping the listings, getting the listings active, coordinating the photos, staging, receiving offers, helping to negotiate offers, getting the counter offers, all the things that go into, selling a home, listing a home, marketing a home, getting a home closed. And that's why she falls under Mary's management primarily, although mine as well, is because there's a lot of things that happen. We get to the closing table or getting to the closing table that fall under Mary's transaction side. So all in all, there's 10 team members, independent of myself, 9 individuals who operate how they operate, although a very limited description because of time. But this is the team that for many years now, and this year will be no different, we'll crank out 100 transactions in San Diego County, make a lot of people happy, getting them out of bad situations on the buy side, getting them into great situations on the sales side when we go to sell them, and delivering what I consider to be above 10 customer service, leaving people better than when we found them, changing San Diego one house at a time.
There you go.
Having a little fun along the way, and in a few months seeing Red Hot Chili Peppers at Petco.
Let's go. Man, can I get a temporary position, man?
I'll put a little leg out here, Jeff, just resident badass, and then you can join us at Petco. But it's fun for me to describe them because I could sit here, if we could sit here for the next 3 hours, I could tell stories about all of them that are fun. But as a team lead, which is really what I am, president, CEO, owner, you call me whatever you want, but I'm leading a team. You got to have fun with who you work with.
Yeah. Hey, I got a quick idea here. So So as you guys noticed, JD is the only one without a nickname. But let's get some ideas. Throw some ideas in the chat box, Facebook, YouTube.
Okay, I like
and
that.
then we'll see who wins.
Yeah, we'll see if we pick one. We'll have a winner there. We'll have to see how we're going to decide. Do I get final oversight on the nickname?
I don't know, man. I think other people really. Determine the
Man,
nickname.
I've had nicknames over the years, but
what are some of what have you had in the past?
When I in high school, some of my friends still call me that. I don't remember where it came from, but Jada. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to sit here honestly remembering where that came from, but I have no idea.
Jada.
I mean, I think that's where it came from, but I don't remember how my good friend Georgette, who came up with the name, originated it. But that's been a nickname. None of the people on this screen know that nickname, although maybe they do now. But that's kind of the only one, man. I don't,
it.
Unless there's probably some other nicknames people call me that I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, but
I've had a lot of those too.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. I mean, incredible team that you built, man. Like I said, it's not just the production and the numbers that you guys are putting up, but the culture and the camaraderie.
That's important.
It's really impressive, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to share this. I mean, this is some high level stuff.
It really,
man. I mean, you're not
really
hearing this on the average real estate podcast, man. So appreciate you pulling back the curtain for us.
Yeah, fun to do. I mean, it's a great team, and people can learn from it. Like I said when we started out, you may not want to run an Amazon, but you can certainly learn a lot about business from following what they do. And you may sit here saying 100 deals a year. That's not my cup of tea, but I'm going to implement some of what we talked about. And then some of you are listening saying 100 deals. Come on, I'm going to do more than that. You can grow and build off of this, but I mean, this can be scaled in many different directions. So it's fun to share. It's even more fun to lead this team, and I think that's the goal for someone when they're running a business.
There you go. There you have it, everyone. Mr. JD Asajan, CT Homes organizational chart. Hope you enjoyed the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. But help me get a nickname for JD. Drop that in the comments, and we'll hook you up here soon, my brother.
Thank you. I'm curious to see what comes out of this.
Appreciate everyone watching. See you next week on the Fortune Builders Real Estate Investing Show. Take care.